very good evening. This is GBS News and I'm coming to you live from Kenya's capital, Nairobi. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenge, and together we'll be taking you through the stories making headlines tonight. But first, here are the highlights.
Although the duty to assign judges is provided for in the Constitution, its implementation is administrative, and that duty can be undertaken by the Honorable DCJ.
Big blow to Gachagua as the court upholds the Deputy Chief Justice decision to appoint a three-judge bench to preside over the outset Deputy President's impeachment case. Who killed Wajir member of County Assembly? The Society of Kenya demands answers and justice for Yusuf Hussein Ahmed, whose mutilated body was discovered in Lake Yahud after he had been missing for over a month.
Yes.
Kenya's Somalia ties intensifies as Somalia President Hassan Mohamud is hosted by President William Ruto, where the two leaders highlighted the critical importance of maintaining peace, security and stability in the Horn of Africa and beyond. Hit squad eyes cold as Africa Elite Boxing Championships in the DRC, Boniface Mugunde, Robert Okaka and Vincent Ocheng qualifies for the semis. To begin our bulletin, a bench of High Court judges have upheld the Chief Justice's decision of forming a jury to listen to Gachagua's impeachment appeal. Gachagua's team of senior counsel had questioned the courts about the Chief Justice's duty that was discharged by the Deputy Chief Justice. A decision has been made in Milimani Law Court, and tomorrow the courts are set to decide on Gachagua's fate, whether it will uphold Kindiki's swearing in or reject it.
Dealing with the above issue, courts have taken two diametrically opposite positions. One of them being that the assignment of judges is a constitutional duty which can only be undertaken by the Honorable Chief Justice. As such, the Honorable DCJ cannot assign judges under Article 165, Sub-Article 4 of the Constitution. The other position posits that although the duty to assign judges is provided for in the Constitution, its implementation is administrative, and that duty can be undertaken by the Honorable DCJ. In Kenya Medical Research Institute versus AG, which was a three-judge bench of this court, held as follows. They quote, paragraph 37. Therefore, by empaneling this bench, the Chief Justice was carrying out his constitutional mandate as opposed to similar functions under the former Constitution, which were hinged on the constitutional provisions and were merely administrative. End of quote. In Leina, Conchela, and others, which was a five-judge bench of this court, the court went ahead and described the role of the Chief Justice under Article 165.4 as constitutional as opposed to a merely administrative function. It also said it is our view that a constitutional mandate of the CJ can be judicial, administrative, or political, and the current Constitution does not indeed state that the Chief Justice is the head of the judiciary which embodies all these functions. The learned judges in that empaneled bench then found that the constitutional mandate exercised by the CJ under 165.4 of the Constitution is an administrative function. The court also elaborately dealt with the issue as to whether such an administrative function could be undertaken by the Honorable DCJ, and in the end, the court rendered itself as follows. I quote paragraph 78. It therefore our finding that constitutional function of the CJ to assign benches under Article 165(4), being an administrative function, can be performed by the Deputy Chief Justice when the Chief Justice is for good reason unable to perform.
The Law Society of Kenya, LSK, has strongly condemned the murder of Wajir County Member of County Assembly, Yusuf Hussein Ahmed, whose mutilated body was discovered in Lake Yahud after he had been missing for over a month. The LSK characterized by the killing as a gross violation of the fundamental human rights, emphasizing the need for accountability and justice in this tragic case. In their statement, LSK called upon Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja to initiate a thorough investigation into both Ahmed's abduction and subsequent murder. They highlighted the importance of ensuring that those responsible for this heinous act are brought to justice, reflecting widespread community outrage and demand for action. The organization also expressed concern over the police's handling of the investigation, noting challenges in the gathering of evidence and the protection of key witnesses. The discovery of Ahmed's body revealed horrific signs of torture, leading to public outcry for swift and effective investigative measures. Local authorities have faced criticism for their slow response and lack of transparency regarding the ongoing investigation. In a meeting at State House, Nairobi today, President William Ruto and Somalia's President Hassan Mohamud highlighted the critical importance of maintaining peace, security and stability in the Horn of Africa and beyond. This decision took place during Mohamud's working visit to Kenya, where both leaders engaged in official talks addressing bilateral, regional and international matters of mutual concern. President Ruto also congratulated President Mohamud on Somalia's election as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council for the 2025-2026 term, recognizing the significance of this role in promoting peace and security.
How are you, sir? Welcome to your other home. Yes, thank you very much. My brother, how are you, sir? Welcome to your other home. Yes, thank you very much.
Four senior officials from Taita Taveta County have been arrested by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission over the alleged embezzlement of 7 million Kenyan shillings meant for a World War I commemoration event. The officials are accused of unauthorized spending and forgery of payment documents, with investigations revealing irregular procurement processes and payments made to suppliers who provided no goods or services. The arrests follow a complaint filed in the April 2023, raising concerns about fiscal mismanagement and corruption within the county. Here are the details.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has apprehended 4 senior officials from Taita Taveta County amid serious allegations of embezzlement. The officials are implicated in the misappropriation of 7 million Kenyan shillings, funds that were earmarked for a World War I commemoration event.
2015 by failing to fully.
If you look at the tweet that we have just shared, that was shared by X, by the Ethics and Corruption Commission, paragraph 1, Your Honor, it says 4 senior Taita Taveta County officials who embezzled over 7 million. Now, Your Honor, you'll note 2 things. Even the consolidated charges of all the accused persons before you, the total amount of money mentioned is 4 million.
We'll take the guidance of this honorable court in terms of how this case should be reported. If there are any issues or concerns by the defense, it becomes a case management issue.
Investigations revealed that the officials had engaged in unauthorized expenditures related to the event, which had not been included in the county's budget for the financial year. The investigations uncovered alarming irregularities in the procurement process. Allegations surfaced regarding the forgery of payment documents, as well as a lack of competitive bidding for suppliers. Disturbingly, it was found that several suppliers who received payments did not provide any goods or services to the county government, indicating a possible collusion among the officials and contractors. Following their arrest, the officials were transported to ESCC offices in Mombasa for processing before being detained at Mombasa Central Police Station. They face multiple charges, including abuse of office and conspiracy to commit corruption. Each official has since been granted bail set as 1 million Kenyan shillings or an alternative cash bail of 200,000 Kenyan shillings. Susan Nganga, GBS News.
In a significant development, the Teacher Service Commission has received over 314,000 job applications for just 46,000 vacancies. In a meeting with the Parliamentary Education Committee today, Teacher Service Commission Chief Executive Officer Nancy Macharia emphasized the pressing need for qualified teachers, stating that the majority of the applicants are trained, but many hail from the arts background rather than sciences. Macharia assured the committee that the Teacher Service Commission will recruit all 46,000 intern teachers currently serving. This recruitment drive aims to ensure that no school is left without a qualified teacher, addressing both current vacancies and anticipated gaps in the future. The Teacher Service Commission's decision to offer permanent contracts to secondary school teachers marks a pivotal step in enhancing the teaching workforce in the country.
Majority of the teachers who come from the colleges, including the university, they are arts. And Mwalimu Morero here knows he has been one of us actually. We used to advertise for his schools for sciences that he wouldn't get. And remember, Chair, when we were taking these primary school teachers to JSS, we opened a portal because a teacher has to show interest. Some were retiring, they didn't want to go to JSS, but most of them went. But even the ones we got, and the people who go for higher qualification, they are arts. They are arts. And you are members of parliament. I know you go to these universities where our teachers go. They don't go to take sciences. They go for arts. But however, we took all of them to secondary schools. Now, I don't know, the other one was on, we have done these advisories more than once to both universities and the ministry, because of the colleges that the ministry runs. They are all there. I think the other one, you see, Chiana, I'm losing the line because of the many questions. But I think the other one, I talked about the redistribution. If I forget, I'll be told. You also asked us about promotion of teachers. And before I leave the recruitment, I was told to assure the country that we will take all the 46,000 intern teachers. And yes, that's in the affirmative. We are taking all of them. And another question on this recruitment came from the vice chair, who asked that he knows of some teachers who have left through natural attrition. Yes, it's not only in your constituency, it is everywhere in the country. Of course, these things happen. And that's why the advert ran like that, so that if there is a gap, because we must fill all those vacancies for the interns, they are funded. The government has funded them. So we cannot even leave even one without a teacher. So what we do after taking all the 46,000 intern teachers is run through the merit list again on who is the first in that sub-county, and we replace the person who has left through natural attrition.
Many thanks for joining this live broadcast. We have a lot lined up for you in our news segment tonight. But first, let us take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Leo tuko hapa kuchemusha mambo. Yeah, you want to talk about things that youths do, things that are led by youth, things that are there to help the youth.
The major mission for OAY is we want to be an umbrella organization for the voice of the African youth.
Okay.
That's why we bear the name African.
Africa.
Yeah, so we want to bear the voices of young people and walk with them the journey of life.
It doesn't matter if you have education background or you don't have. They just let you know and understand and feel proud of yourself. You can do this. This is what you want, go for it, do it.
Okay.
We've seen that there has been a challenge of teenage mothers coming back to the society. Is it going back to school, going back to work?
Okay.
So I can say that maybe the society, we do not have the best environment to integrate or take back some of even the teenage mothers.
Wow. So becoming a manager, it's something that someone can be. If you can just create something and out of it you make it beautiful.
Going alone, I'll go nowhere. But going together, we'll go so far.
In everything that you're doing, just ensure you're consistent. Yeah, because consistent beats hard work. Huh?
Every day is a day to watch the youth hub.
Wow, like that.
When we talk about health, about menstruation health, what does it mean?
Because women are uniquely made, they have something that is called periods, or they menstruate.
That makes us unique.
Every month and menstruation is very special and pure. When I was growing up, when I started, nobody was talking about it. I only learned when I had my first period, which is called menarche. I am called I had reusable pads. Our pads are reusable because they are made of cloth. Yes. If we didn't menstruate, they would not be there. So I tell them, boys, you would not be here if there's no menstruating. So how many of you would like to be fathers one day? All of them. So cramps is normal. If you can tolerate, you just try and vumilia. The same towel, face towel, you can dip it in warm water and just place it on your stomach if you are at home.
Right now she's in her early 30s. When she's on period, she gets mad.
You see?
Mental disorder.
She's proposed to, but she can't say yes because her uterus were removed, her ovaries.
Oh my God.
Without her knowledge when she was young.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back. You're still watching GBS News 9. In a major breakthrough against drug trafficking, authorities in Malindi have apprehended a key suspect, seizing a substantial cache of heroin valued at 14 million Kenyan shillings. This operation underscores the ongoing battle against drugs in the communities. Here are the details. Moving on, in a shocking revelation, Environment Chief Mosiria has raised serious concerns over the safety of street food in Nairobi after it was discovered that food trolleys were being stored in urinals. The discovery was made during a routine inspection in Kijabe Street, where officials found several food trolleys improperly stored in an unhygienic condition. Chief Mosiria emphasized that such practices not only violate health regulations, but also endanger the lives of the consumers who rely on the street food. The Environment Chief has called for immediate action, urging relevant authorities to conduct thorough inspections of street food vendors across the city. He highlighted the need for stringent enforcement of health regulations to prevent similar incidents in the future. On the same note, he went on to caution clients to be mindful of what they consume at some joints within the city. This was while he shared a video of Mabotura vendor in Nairobi.
Mahali inakuwa prepared lazima muangalie usafi. Mumeona venye hizi wamejaa kwa hizi masufuria? Kwa hii motura yenyewe hata inacheza hapa. Ama hizi ikikuwa ndio inakuwa tamu. Angalia. Unaona hii yote hii? Hii ni nini? Hii ni nini? Angalia hii ni nini? Unaonanga hii? Sasa hii ndio tunasema tukuze mazingira, tuhakikishe mahali tunafanyia kazi ni kusafi, chakula tunatengenezea watu waweze kukula ni safi. Mwenye hapa hapo wapi kuelekeze? Hatukuchukulia tu hatukushiki. Okay, najua hapo kati yenu hapa mtaki kumsema. Si ajitoe kwani nini anataka kwa sababu anajua chenye anafanya ni kichafu.
Sisi sema vile utasema, sisi ndio tutachukua hatua pia atakaa. Kama hayuko karibu. Sasa tuko karibu na yeye.
Unaona hata hizi wameka wanaingia hapo ndani wanaendelea tu kukula. Unaona? Hata angalia tu usafi yani. Mazingira. Mwenye anakula hii hawa si hizi. Ndio maana siku hizi kila mtu ako na shida ya tumbo. Watu wanaumwa na tumbo kwa sababu ya ukula chafu. Kwa hivyo angalia mazingira, atengeneze hapa kuwe kusafi, hao inzi wote waweze
waende wote. I hope utapata hivyo. Wacha kuja weekend tutakuja kuona.
In a major breakthrough against drug trafficking, authorities in Malindi have apprehended a key suspect, seizing a substantial cachet of heroin valued at 14 million Kenya shillings. This operation underscores the ongoing battle against drugs in the communities. Here are the details.
In a significant crackdown on drug trafficking, detectives from the Anti-Narcotics Unit in Malindi, supported by a multi-agency team from Sabaki Bridge, have apprehended a notorious trafficker and seized heroin valued at approximately 14 million Kenyan shillings. Following a tip-off, law enforcement officials targeted a suspected hideout in Gerenya, Kilifi County, leading to the arrest of Salim Peter Katana, a known figure in narcotics trade. During a thorough search of Katana's residence, officers discovered 38 packages of heroin totaling to 3.6 kilograms hidden within a bedroom. Alongside the drugs, shillings 13,000 believed to be proceeds from his illegal activities were also recovered. Salim Peter is currently in custody at Malindi Police Station, awaiting his day in court. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations is intensifying efforts to combat the growing drug menace, ensuring that those involved are brought to justice. Triza Tiengo, GBS News.
Nearly half of the world's children are exposed to lead poisoning, a crisis causing 1 million deaths annually. As Kenya joins the 12th International Lead Poisoning Prevention Week, fresh data from the USAID reveals that 800 million children in developing countries, including Kenya, suffer severe health effects. The Ministry of Health is now reviewing chemical laws to combat this environmental threat. Here is Monse.
Lead poisoning continues to be a global health crisis, with 1 in 2 children worldwide suffering the consequences of lead exposure. Recent statistics from USAID indicate that approximately 800 million children in developing nations, including Kenya, are affected by this toxic metal, resulting in 1 million deaths annually. Pregnant women are particularly vulnerable, as lead exposure can lead to miscarriages and children born with cognitive impairments, such as low IQ levels.
It is estimated that lead exposure costs the global economy $1.4 trillion annually. And I think this morning we were talking about that number could be an underestimate. It contributes to over 1 million deaths each year.
The estimates from the World Health Organization indicate that lead poisoning accounts to 0.6% of the global burden of disease and contributes to approximately 600,000 cases of intellectual disability in children annually. These are not just figures. They are figures that could be alarming in the future.
As the world observes the 12th International Lead Poisoning Prevention Week, Kenya's Ministry of Health is taking steps to address this issue by reviewing laws on harmful environmental chemicals, including lead,
I have stated there is no point of reinventing the wheel. We must review laws, regulations, guidelines, and strategies to tackle the emerging chemical, of environmental and health concerns, including antimicrobial resistance through a One Health approach.
One significant step in tackling the issue is the Ministry of Environment support for banning asbestos roofing. Asbestos materials, often contaminated with lead, are linked to long-term environmental hazards. Hilary Kabila, GBS News, Nairobi.
Ubunifu, in conjunction with the Eco Train, is engaging the community in environmental conservation, and that is why on Saturday they organized a mini football tournament in Githurai 45 as a way of mobilizing youths in the community in creating awareness on the importance of conserving the environment. Through its country director, Muihaki Njogu, the organization brought together over 300 youths from within Githurai who engaged in tree planting and later played soccer at the small Axe Riparian Park around ground where over 10 teams participated in a 7-side football tournament. The winners were awarded trophies in recognition of their efforts. As the world faces increasing environmental problems, Ubunifu and Eco Train movement is becoming a consensus of grassroots environmental campaign to make Kenyans know the importance of protecting the ecosystem and planting trees.
Hello, my name is Muihaki Njogu, the chairperson of Ubunifu Eco Train Movement. Ubunifu Eco Train Movement is made up of 16 organizations in the climate justice space. What we do is mobilize youth, depending on their talents, skills, and abilities, to be climate action champions. We normally do marches, we do community mobilization and empowerment. We also do tree planting and growing, not just planting trees, but also growing trees. Today we are here for a football tournament where we are using this opportunity to bring young people together and speak more about climate action, because usually it's thought about as a very big topic, but it narrows down to what you are doing, the small things you are doing in your community. And what I love saying is that as an individual, as a person, we all have a social responsibility of conserving our environment and teaching the younger generation of doing the same. The challenge we have been facing with communities is that right now their minds are fixed on making money. It's so hard to explain to someone why they need a better environment in the next 10 years. So the challenge we have been experiencing is growing trees, whereby us ourselves, after planting trees, we have to go back to those communities, check up on them, weed them out. So the communities haven't yet picked up how we would love them to pick up, and they make their own green spaces, because that is our vision of an eco train movement. But I believe we'll get there. I believe using football to push the climate justice agenda is effective, because when you see in football matches, it is mostly young people, youths, and these are the people with the strength, the manpower of the nation. So I believe having something that can entertain them, so it's not like they're just sitting down to be taught about climate justice, but using football as an avenue of them having fun and also learning more. So it is very effective. We believe in making an impact in one place and distributing the impact in a ripple effect. For now, we are organizations within Nairobi, but some organizations within the movement have operations even outside the country, outside the county. But we believe that with time, as we continue to empower more young people, we have agents of transformation in different areas of the country. The best thing about being in a movement is that it's not about the impact of I as Smile organization, but the moment I bring Julie in, I bring young mothers in, I bring temple arts, we do more movement, we do more action, and the effect we have on the ground is that we are able to cover a larger ground compared to just me doing as my own organization. So collaboration has been the best way for us to go, and this is an aspect of us collaborating.
Moya constituency is set to benefit from the construction of a 24 million Kenyan shillings Huduma Center and Jitume Digital Hub. The facility is expected to be completed by February 2025, had its official groundbreaking done by Area Member of Parliament Mary Mainge, who is expected to bring essential government services closer to the residents, enhancing access to critical services and improving the digital capacity of the constituency. Meanwhile, hundreds of women from Manyata constituency, Embu County, have benefited from a free breast and cervical cancer screening medical camp organized by Beyond Zero Foundation in collaboration with the county government. In other news, UNICEF has revealed about 3 million children in Kenya are exposed to lead poisoning, with the research showing most of those affected having challenges in school. According to a UNICEF survey done in 2020, the children mostly from areas near factories that pollute air. There is an urgent need for authorities to take immediate action to save the numbers that may be increasing. Paris Kego with more from the counties.
Moya constituency is set to benefit from a new Huduma Center and Gitume Digital Hub at a Kenya shillings 24 million project expected to be completed by February 2025. Speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony, Honorable Mary Mainge, Member of Parliament, Moya constituency, emphasized the transformative impact the new center will have on the community.
Today we were breaking the ground for construction of a Huduma Center and a Gitume Center. So I have taken it upon myself, prioritized a Huduma Center so my people can benefit from government services from even a closer range.
Mainge said the Huduma Center will house various government services under one roof, while the Gitume Digital Hub will provide digital resources and training opportunities to empower the youth and local entrepreneurs. Purity Mengich, the Assistant County Commissioner, echoed the MP's sentiments, stating that the initiative underscored the government commitment to improving access to critical services for all Kenyans, particularly those in rural areas like Moya.
Mradi imeweza kuletwa hapa na watu wa Moya sasa wanaweza wakapata services close to their homes. Hawatakuwa na budget tena ya kulipa fare ili kwenda mbali kutafuta huduma.
Titus Karanja, a resident from Moya constituency, says the Huduma Center will be of great benefit for all Moya residents, saying they have been traveling for a long distances to get government services.
The Huduma Center and the Digital Hub, we are very grateful for the government through our able Member of Parliament, Mary Mainge. We Moya constituents, we are very happy because from today we are going to have the government services near us.
Meanwhile, hundreds of women from Manyata constituency, Embu County, received free breast and cervical cancer screening at a 2-day medical camp organized by Beyond Zero Foundation in partnership with the county government. Held at Makengi Dispensary, the camp aimed to address the healthcare access challenges amid the ongoing transition from NHIF to SHIF. This initiative is part of a 3-year collaborations to provide extensive cancer screening and treatment services. The burden of 2 diseases and related deaths was on the rise in the county, according to Makengi Dispensary nursing officers Phineas Kimathi. He said cancer was treatable if detected early and called on women to go for regular checkups.
Tunafanya screening ya breast ambayo tunafanya pia pap smear. Kwa ufupi, kansa inaua watu kwa wingi Kenya na especially kwetu Embu. Tunasikia kwamba mama wanakufa kwa wingi bila kujua kwamba wako na tatizo, ambao wengi wanajulikana wakiwa stage 3 na stage 4 ambayo hawezi kutibiwa wakati huo.
Women who were tested, the majority of whom for the first time hailed the initiative, saying the procedure was simple yet could go a long way in saving lives through early detections and intervention.
Tumekuja hapa hospitali kupimiwa kansa na tunafurahi kwa sababu hii kipimo iko na pesa mingi. Mtu akienda huko tulikuwa tunakataa kuenda kupimwa, lakini sasa walifanya mzuri sana, wakaleta hapa tukapimiwa, haina usungu.
Imekuwa changamoto sana kwa kina mama juu wakipata cervical cancer unapata wanaenda hospitali, they use a lot of money hata kufanyiwa test, lakini test imekuwa free.
In others news, 2020 UNICEF survey has revealed that around 3 million children in Kenya are exposed to leading poisoning with many facing difficulties in school. The study indicated that most affected children live near factories that pollute the air, highlighting an urgent need for authorities to act. Despite this, the government has implemented several interventions, including stricter laws to protect factories workers from lead exposure. Research has also linked rising cases of pressure-related illness to increased levels of lead in the air and factories. Public Health and Professional Standards PS Mary Muthoni noted the government concern over this trend and acknowledged existing interventions.
And according to studies that were done by UNICEF and Pure Earth in 2020, showed that 2.9 million children in Kenya have high levels of lead in blood, more than 5 microgram. When we talk about children, the damage is on the body's biological systems and pathways. Serious. And these are the children we are looking to. We are looking to bring them up, to take over after we leave this world.
She emphasized the need for closer scrutiny of lead-producing factories not complying with the regulations, indicating that such institution would face closure. Muthoni stated that the crackdown would involve a multi-ministerial approach, with the Ministry of Environment leading efforts against polluters. Paris Kigo, GBS News.
Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. That report brings us to our international news, but first let us take a quick commercial break.
Hello everyone. I'm so much thankful to have this precious time to actually share with you the Word of God. When I was growing up and when I was attending church, my former church, I was taught that, although I'm saved, but as I, when I commit sin, I become a sinner. And then when I become a sinner, again, I repent my sin every day for it to be forgiven, so that I can be assured of salvation. But when I was living a life of trying to confess my sin each and every day and believing that I'm a sinner, actually I could not have an assurance of my salvation in my heart. So I thought, and I was taught that my sin is, the deeds which I do outwardly. Until the time I came to realize, for sure, I'm a person who cannot really do good. The problem is not the deeds which I'm doing outwardly. The problem is the core. The core of my heart itself is evil. Jesus, what he did, he lived among us. And then he died on the cross because of our sin. And then he rose again. The reason why now he did not just resurrect and go to heaven, it is because of, to meet the disciple and to witness that, sin and death could not have any power in his life. He wanted to manifest that eternal life.
Today we're talking about importance of premarital counseling. Maybe to start with, help us to understand what is premarital counseling and why is it important?
Why a man should leave his parents. Kwa nini spiritually? Kwa nini mwanaume ataacha wazazi wake aende kwa mke wake? And then there's no true love in this world. We just say true love. Truth never change. Kitambo, I was a boxer. I worked in matatu sector. So you know what I mean, isn't it? So nilipitia. As a pastor, anyway, he says danganya. Watu wananijua.
A truth never change.
Yeah.
A truth never change.
Yeah.
So if I tell you the truth, it will not change. Even if you'll ask me 5 years later, as long as I said the truth, I'll not forget because that is the truth.
Kuna msemo lakini ni uongo, yani wanasema ukiongea ukweli hautaishi na bibi. Action speaks
louder than words. True.
Yeah. So what I say is not important. My actions are important. Kamba mali jiwe na tupa si mali na anguka. And she changed her mind. And then I come home.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the broadcast and now to matters international news. Tunisian President Kais Saied has been sworn in for a second term following a months-long crackdown and a series of arrests against his political opponents. A few weeks after being re-elected with 90.7% of the vote, the 66-year-old former law professor called in investigator speech for a cultural revolution to fight unemployment, terrorism and corruption. Here is more on the same.
Tunisia President Kais Saied's second term began amid heightened tensions and political challenges following a controversial first term marked by sweeping changes and aggressive move against his opponents. Saied's re-elections on October 7, 2024, with an overwhelming 90.7% of the vote, came after months of political repression, which saw dozens of arrests, media restrictions, and increased government control. In his investiture speech, the 66-year-old former law professor emphasized a call for a cultural revolution, highlighting his ambitions to overhaul the Tunisian political and economic landscape. The goal is to build a country where everyone can live with dignity. The task was not easy. The dangers were great. The weapons of the old regime were like vipers that move everywhere. You could hear them hissing, even if you couldn't see them. His rhetoric underscored a continuation of the hardline approach seen in his first term, which critics describe as a gradual slide toward dictatorship. He justifies some crackdowns as necessary to combat corruptions and enemies of the state, using populism to appeal to Tunisia, disillusioned with the directions his predecessors took the countries after nationwide protests that led to the ouster of the Zine El Abidine Ben Ali in 2011. He vowed to tackle thieves and traitors in the pay of foreigners and blamed counter-revolutionary forces to obstructing his effort to support Tunisia's struggling economy throughout his first term. Although Mr. Saied has proclaimed his commitment to respecting freedoms, many journalists were prevented from covering his swearing-in ceremony on Monday, leading to a rebuke from the National Union of Tunisian Journalists, which expressed a strong condemnation of the ongoing blackout policy and restrictions imposed on journalists' work in a press release issued Monday. Kais Saied's re-elections mark the continuation of an uncertain political trajectory for Tunisia. But it remains to be seen how far his administration can go without further alienating key sectors of society, including media and civil society groups. International observers will be watching closely to gauge whether Tunisia will see further suppressions of dissent or if there will be a shift towards more inclusive governance to address the country's pressing economic and social challenges. Paris Kigo, GBS News.
Germany has confirmed its first case of the new Mpox variant known as Clade 1b, raising awareness of the ongoing global health emergency. The patient, a 33-year-old man, is currently isolated in a hospital in North Rhine-Westphalia. Health officials believe he contracted the virus while traveling in East Africa. Here are the details.
The Robert Koch Institute announced that the first detection of the Clade 1b Mpox variant occurred in Cologne. The patient was admitted to the hospital on October 12 and was isolated shortly thereafter. Detailed testing confirmed the variant on October 18, linking it to a global health alert issued by the World Health Organization back in August. This variant is part of a wider outbreak that originated in the Democratic Republic of Congo and has since spread to several neighboring countries. As of now, health authorities assess the risk to the wider population as low, but they are closely monitoring the situation. In a related development, 2 patients in Norway have been diagnosed with a different strain of the virus known as Clade 2, which is considered less severe than Clade 1b. Global health officials first noted the Mpox virus spreading outside Africa in mid-August when cases were confirmed in Sweden. As health officials continue to investigate this new variant, they urge travelers and the public to remain vigilant and informed. Irene Juguna, GBS News.
Tensions are rising as South Korea has summoned the Russian ambassador demanding immediate withdrawal of North Korean troops it claims are being trained to fight in Ukraine. Seoul's intelligence agency reports that approximately 1,500 North Korean soldiers, including special forces, have already arrived in Russia. Here are the details.
The South Korean government has long suspected that North Korea has been supplying weapons to Russia, but officials say this recent troop involvement represents a serious escalation. Some reports suggest that as many as 12,000 North Korean soldiers could be deployed in Russia. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov later addressed the issue, asserting that the cooperation between Russia and North Korea is not aimed at that countries and should not worry anyone. Pyongyang has yet to comment on the accusations. Kim Tae-ho, the Deputy National Security Advisor, said in a press conference that South Korea will coordinate with their allies and to ensure strong measures against the cooperation between the Russian and the North Korean troops. Relations between Moscow and Pyongyang have strengthened since Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un signed a security pact in June. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte warned that North Korea's involvement will mark a significant escalation in the conflict. In a phone call with Rutte, South Korean President urged NATO to explore concrete countermeasures. The United States have joined in condemning the growing military cooperation between the two nations, while China has called for de-escalation and a political solution to the Ukraine crisis. Defense experts warn that North Korea participation could complicate the war, with some saying it might lead to increased international involvement and could cause a third world war. This is Abdi Hamid Ali, GBS.
In a landmark ruling, former Peruvian President Alejandro Toledo has been sentenced to 20 years and 6 months in prison for accepting bribes from Brazilian construction giant Odebrecht. This marks the first significant conviction stemming from the massive Lava Jato corruption scandal that has plagued Latin America. Here is more on this end.
The conviction was announced on Monday in a small prison room in Lima, where the 78-year-old Toledo has been held since last year.
He had the duty to protect and preserve the assets of the state in a rational manner, avoiding abuse, waste or misuse, without using or allowing others to use the assets of the state for private purposes.
Prosecutors revealed that Toledo accepted $35 million in bribes from Odebrecht, known as Novana, in exchange for securing a lucrative contract to construct a key road linking Peru's southern coast with an Amazonian region in western Brazil. Toledo, who governed Peru from 2001 to 2006 and holds a doctorate from Stanford University, consistently denied the charges of money laundering and collusion throughout the year-long trial.
I want to publicly say that I am innocent.
Inocente!
His case is part of a broader investigation into Odebrecht's extensive bribery operations across Latin America, which came to light in 2016 when the company admitted to paying officials in numerous countries to win public works contracts. Last week, Toledo appealed to the court to allow him to serve his sentence at home due to his battle with cancer, stating, "Please let me heal or die at home."
I have cancer, I have heart problems, and in a few months I will turn 80. If this is to continue, I only ask, please let me defend myself from my home.
However, the ruling has been seen as a critical step in Peru's fight against corruption.
It's a historic conviction against a former president, and it sends a message that there is no place for impunity in our country. The crimes of corruption are punished.
Toledo is not the only former president facing scrutiny. Two other ex-presidents, Pedro Pablo and Ollanta Humala, are under investigation in connection with the Odebrecht scandal, while former President Pedro Castillo is currently detained for separate allegations of rebellion. The Lava Jato scandal continues to expose deep-seated corruption in the region, highlighting the ongoing challenges faced by governments in restoring public trust and accountability. Irene Juguna, GBS News.
In a closely contested race, Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris holds a narrow 46% to 43% lead over Republican former President Donald Trump, according to a new Reuters IPSOS poll. The 6-day survey, which concluded on Monday, reflects a tight competition just 2 weeks before the November 5th election. However, many voters favor Trump's economic and immigration policy by 46% and 48% respectively, compared to Harris, who scored 38% on economy and 35% on immigration. Our reporter Abdi Hamid Ali has more on this story.
In the final weeks of the U.S. presidential race, both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are amplifying their campaign to reach as many people as possible. Both candidates have done unconventional interview methods by doing a podcast in order to entice young Gen Zs and millennial voters to elect them. Trump has been vlogging with pro-Trump YouTubers, and he also visited a McDonald's fast food chain to serve customers and providing catering meal services. So far, Kamala Harris has been doing mass interviews with the mainstream media for a couple of weeks. Meanwhile, Trump refused to do any interviews with the mainstream media. Instead, he is focusing his energy on campaigning on key battleground states. In a joint recent poll conducted by Reuters and Ipsos, shows Kamala Harris leading with 46%, while Trump with 43%. However, around 70% of voters expressed concerns about the rising cost of living, and 65% voiced dissatisfaction with immigration policy. The poll found voters generally favor Trump with economic policy and immigration. With the race so close, turnout is expected to play a critical role in the final outcome. Both campaigns are making a strong push to ensure their supporters head to the polls on election day. Both candidates will make history if they win the election. Kamala Harris will become the first female U.S. president in history, while Donald Trump will be the first U.S. president with criminal charges and multiple indictments. This is Abdi Hamid Ali, GBS News.
Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. And now for sports lovers, it is time for your most anticipated part of the news, the sports news. Let's get sporty. Hit squad captain Boniface Mugunde is confident as he prepares to fight Morocco's Abdine Amrouk in the semi-finals of the Africa Elite Boxing Championship in DRC. After a strong win against Anderson Mazongo, Mugunde aims for a gold medal for Kenya. His quick reflexes and accurate punches helped him dominate the match. Robert Okaka also advanced after defeating Yassil Rigui of Morocco with powerful punches. Shafi Bakari and Vincent Ocheng made it to the semi-finals too, but heavyweight Peter Abuti was disappointed after a close loss. The competition is intense as these athletes strive for success.
Seuls les juges peuvent nous dire clairement qui a gagné. Oui. Parce que l'écart n'est pas très grand. Il n'y a pas eu aussi beaucoup de points. C'est un point de vue. Je donnerai la chance aux Maliens. Traoré ici en rouge, qui a démontré quand même un peu de qualité. Parce qu'il y a des critères, finalement on peut recourir même aux qualités. Oui, c'est ça. Mais enfin, on n'en est pas là. Voyons voir maintenant le verdict. Le verdict va tomber tout à l'heure. N'allons plus parler de ce que nous disions au début, que le Kenya n'a pas de bons boxeurs. Et finalement, ils nous ont démontré qu'ils en avaient. Les Congolais risquent de tomber. Il y a la fatigue dans le chef des deux boxeurs. C'est vrai qu'ils ont trop donné. Attention. Mongunde a failli tomber. Heureusement, il a ceinturé son adversaire, le Congolais. Oui. L'on s'achemine vers la fin de ce combat, le dernier de la soirée, de cette troisième journée.
Le Congolais en rouge commence à encaisser des coups. Et bon droit du Kenya.
D'ici quelques secondes, ce sera la fin de ce combat.
Encore bon crochet du Kenya.
Un peu de fatigue qui s'installe.
Encore maintenant.
C'est la fin de ce combat.
Combat difficile.
Un combat très disputé.
Combat difficile.
Nairobi is preparing for the Standard Chartered Marathon on October 27th, following a successful mini-marathon in Mombasa. The race will start at Carnival Grounds and end at Uhuru Gardens, drawing participants from elite athletes to fitness enthusiasts. The kit collection runs from today until October 26th, when the major road closures will begin at 11 p.m. Impacting routes like the Southern Bypass, motorists will use alternative routes to avoid delays. Marathon Chairman Peter Gitao emphasized the event's support for the Future Makers initiative, which helps young people, especially women and those with disabilities. This year's marathon will also feature former 5,000-meter African champion Frida Lopeda, adding excitement to the competition. The Ministry of Sports hosted the Kenya Under-20 national football team Rising Stars for a celebratory breakfast at Atlanta Hela Plaza on Tuesday. This event honored the team's exceptional performance in the Under-20 AFCON Sekafa qualifiers, where they emerged as runners-up and underplays in the prestigious Under-20 AFCON Championship, marking a significant achievement as they became the first junior team to qualify for the tournament. Here are the details.
The Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts, under the leadership of Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, has donated 1.8 million shillings to the Rising Stars as a token of appreciation for their successful qualification for the AFCON Under-20 tournament, which is set to take place in South Africa next year. Many of the players in the current Under-20 squad were also part of the Under-18 team that clinched a silver medal at the 2023 Sekafa Under-18 Boys Championship, demonstrating the consistent development of talent within FKF youth setup. This qualification is a major milestone for the country's youth football development, giving Rising Stars the opportunity to compete on a continental stage and showcase their talent against Africa's best. Reporting for GBS TV, I am John Kinyanjui.
And that sports news brings us to the end of our news segment tonight. Here at GBS News at 9, we make your news our business. My name is Beatrice Jerry. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenge. Good night.
Everywhere, GBS.